Hey everyone, Steve Poplar, Poplar Preparedness. Today we're going to go over 3 items that even most of the most hardcore preppers probably don't have. We're also going to cover quickly the solar storm that's happening right now and what you should be doing about future storms like that. And then we got a few updates here about what's going on with the channel. First thing, tomorrow we're going to start actually shifting the launch hour for my videos to 9 a.m. For most of you, you don't care. But for those of you who do care, just heads up on that. We're shifting to 9 a.m. and then there's a possibility we may shift to actually 2 p.m. in the future, depending, just trying to figure some of those things out. All right, so solar flare, what we're seeing here is it's a class 3, I believe, solar flare. So what we're looking at is it's doing several things right now. It's pushing satellites out of orbit. Not like so they crash into the Earth, but just enough that it messes up some of the uplinks. It messes up some of the timing issue with the GPS. Things are kind of going a little squirrely right now. Also, your cell phone signals are probably a bit squirrely and your data is not functioning as it should. Apps and other internet things are kind of just squirrely today. So I don't know if you've noticed that already. It's not some kind of weirdness, and it's not just you. It's the internet's that depends on satellites for a lot of things is getting messed with right now. Longer form frequencies like HF frequencies get a lot of interference, and your cell phones may get a little bit of interference, but your cell phones have real short wavelengths, so not quite so much. But any little bit can mess things up for you, right? In addition to that, just notice that your GPS locations may be a little bit off in the next 2 days until they get those satellites moved back into the proper orbits. A more serious solar storm, you need something more like a Faraday cage. Now, this is what I mentioned before, the Mission Darkness product line, which is in the description below. They make some really good products. This is a Molly Faraday cage bag, which is great for cell phones. I got a few Baofeng radios in here, just so that if lights went out, I would be able to at least reach out on the 2-meter band and try to reach out to some people locally. I'm in the process of getting an HF radio that will reach out further, and I got a CB radio coming in that will kind of fill in the gaps in the intermediary. All right, so I promised you 3 items that, and you know me, I'm a weird guy. I have a lot of weird experiences, so I think a little bit out of the box. I have backpacking experience and working in conflict zones, so some of these tips and tricks you probably haven't heard elsewhere. One of these items is, the first item is actually a thermos. Not just any thermos. This isn't for like your drink to keep it warm so you can drink it later. Well, that's kind of what it's designed to do, is actually you put your soup in here and then you take it to work and you drink your soup. If you have a lot of heating issues, you can cook up food, put it in a thermos, cook up some tea, cook up some coffee, and put it in a thermos, and you can drink or eat this 12 hours later, and it'll still be piping hot. That's huge. What this is even more important for me is if I have a grid down situation where I'm having trouble getting fuel to cook with, like if I'm stuck inside, I can pour the food in here that needs to be rehydrated or cooked and pour boiling water in there, seal it up, and then this can rehydrate or cook in there, because it's gonna you might have to swish a little hot water into the thermos first to heat it up first, and then when you put your boiling water in there, that can get it up to temperature for cooking purposes. You can put meat in here and pour boiling water on it and then seal it up, and that would actually be enough to cook the meat above food safety standards. So these thermoses are huge. Now, I only have a little one right now, and I have a second one because I'm the only one who lives here. So I just need to cook for me. but so one's for a hot drink and one's for cooking. So that's enough for me right now. I'm going to get a bigger thermos and everything like that. But something to think about for you guys. So not just only cooking your food, but efficiently storing that heat can be really, really important. It's just a few bucks, but it can make all the world. Once you get up to where you have a bunch of cooking energy, then saving a percentage of that starts to make a whole lot more sense, right? Second one I'm going to do, this one's weird. Some of you are going to get angry about this. That's all right. I have to be careful about what I say. Isn't that wonderful? And this one, actually, I agree with them to be careful. Flea collars. Let me tell you a story. When working over in Afghanistan, people just have fleas all over them because they're with animals. There's no way of killing the fleas. A lot of us in civilized countries don't understand what it's like to have fleas everywhere, but in a grid down situation, we might have flea problems. And the other thing that these things do are ticks. They kill ticks. In Afghanistan, most aid workers would wear one on their left wrist and one on their right ankle across the body. One on the left wrist, one on their right ankle. Now, I am not recommending anything, but what I'm saying is that these things can be mission critical in an extended grid down situation, because for 7 months they kill lice, ticks, and fleas, and they keep them away from wherever those wristbands or collars, wherever those collars are. This is huge. If there's a situation where there's issues with that, you're gonna want something like that, and you're not gonna be able to get it either. This is huge. I haven't gotten enough of these. I need to stock up some more of these. These, in a bad situation, they could be huge, and nobody talks about that because people don't think about that. They don't want to think about what hygiene looks like post Shtf or Teotihuacan, right? But that's a very real situation. Third world countries deal with this. Now, some of you may say that there's some really nasty stuff. You do need to do a little bit of research on which ones you get, which ones have the least lawsuits against them. Just saying. Research the ingredients on them, and these are not nice ingredients. I'm not going to say that they are, but what I am saying is, do you know what kind of diseases come from fleas? The Black Plague came from fleas. Do you know what kind of diseases come from mosquitoes, which these also repel? There are some nasty, nasty diseases that these could protect a pet from, or whatever they're on. All right. Haven't heard any preppers talking about that, so I want to give you that idea. Aid workers have used them overseas extensively. And in a bad situation, you need to do what you need to do. All right, number 3. This is another one. Preppers do mention this sometimes, but I don't think many preppers actually go through with actually getting them. These are, it's a little bit of money, and you got to do it right. So, got a couple of them here. You got to be careful not to show you any barcodes. But what are these? Steve, why do you have cell phones? These aren't my cell phones. These are extra phones. If you've watched any movies, you may have heard references to things like burner phones. There are some rules to burner phones. First thing is, the moment you talk on a burner phone, the clock starts ticking. So, 1, you need to purchase them properly. When you purchase them, make sure that you do not use a credit card. You purchase them with cash. You do not buy anything else at the store that day. You go in, pay with cash, get the phone. Make sure you get the activation card to it too, like that. Make sure you don't fill out any information. You don't surrender any information to them. Now, the next step is you got to wait at least 30 to 60 days. The longer you age these phones, the better. You want to age them because the security camera footage at Walmarts and Targets and wherever you might get these things from, they periodically delete that data because they don't need it and they don't keep it for forever. However, if they can link that transaction to your face, then it defeats the whole point. But burner phones these could be for me. They could be for you. Who knows what they are for? If you want to do extra duty, if you find other people with burner phones, what you can do is you can just trade these. Trade them. Just mix them up. Even more so. These things are completely legal. There's no reason why you can't have a phone. And there are uses for burner phones. What I'm advocating here is there might be some time where you just don't want to be tracked. And your cell phone in your pocket is a tracking beacon to you. Sometimes you may need to leave that at home, but you want a phone of some sort, so you take this with you off, not turned on, in a Faraday bag, preferably, and if you need it, you can make a phone call with it. You can talk to somebody. After you talk to them, relatively quickly, that phone can become a tracking beacon on you again. So you may need to destroy that or just toss it away. It's not linked to you, so if you just give it to somebody, that's fine too. They may be asked about where they got that from. But so basically what I'm seeing is you can get these phones for like $20, $25, and then the activation. So this is a monthly activation for $25. So I think this is like a total of $45 or $50 for this package. This package is a month of cell phone. What happens if my cell phone breaks? I have an emergency phone. What happens if you need to someone else's cell phone breaks or you need to give some kind of communication to somebody? You can give them this. These things are tremendously important. And they're things you can't get later. You need to get them beforehand. You need to age them. They need to not be able to be traced back to you, or else there's no point to them. But they are backup phones, so even in a non-grid down situation, they have applications as just a secondary phone that could be used that you can give to somebody that needs it. So those are 3 things that I don't think a lot of hardcore preppers have. Thermoses for reheating food and for keeping food hot and drink hot. Flea collars for insect mitigation. For pets, of course. And then burner phones. You need burner phones. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking with it. I'm dropping this right in the afternoon, right at 4 o'clock it looks like, and I will drop the next update video, which I've researched, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., and I will see you all there. Thank you, and God bless.